Today was the last Saturday of sweet corn picking, and tomorrow will be the last Sunday. We just got a new toy, the head strap. I guess we'll try that out tomorrow for picking sweet corn, if Brad remembers or is awake enough. So we thought the first thing we'd try with our new toy, the head strap, we'll feed chickens this morning. See what the perspective is on the top of my head. Now, after this summer, I have greatly learned why chickens are raised in a barn, or hogs, or most any animal for that matter. Because it can be a pain to keep chickens moved to fresh grass. I'm always moving them. The meat chickens are daily, but you move the pens 10 feet, that's no problem. The egg layers, once a week, gotta move fence. Then move the trailers. Make sure the chickens are still in the trailers. Roll them down the road, let them out, move their feeders. Then go out, you gotta fill their waters every day. Dump some feed around for them. So I fully understand why commercial production has gone to confinement barns. Rather sad, but it saves a whole lot of hassle. I like scooping feed out of the box, dumping some oyster shells on it, and feeding it to them. But look, there's some days where we're so busy. We've got hay to cut, corn to pick, hay to bale, or in the spring we're still planting. Like those extra, hour or two in the morning after feeding the cattle, feeding the chicken. I could have, disked 10 acres or something in that time. But at least this way, we get to know the animals, get to know who's producing our food, who we're going to eat. Of course, that's really almost over-personalizing the animals. They're not pets, they sort of are. A few of them have names if they have personalities, but not all of them. Now back there, that was egg layer feed I just put in the bucket. I'm not quite sure why I don't mix the oyster shells in. I just kind of put one soup can full in per barrel. It's about a bushel of feed. 40 pounds, maybe 50 if we're lucky. Now in this wagon is the meat chicken feed. It's not much at a time. I only grind about 1,000 pounds, but that keeps it fresh. If I grind more than that at once, it'll start to sort of mold on me a little bit. Oh geez, way too much. That little spill's okay. Hedwig's free ranging. She hatched a chick last week. And now we have 2 free range chickens. Didn't necessarily plan on her to hatch a chick, but we'll go with it. I gave her some eggs just because she was sitting. Part of the problem is when she's free ranging, I have trouble finding her nest. And then the eggs accumulate, and then she decides, oh hey, let's sit on these eggs since they're not moving away from my presence. But she's not with a rooster, so they're unfertilized and she's wasting her time. So I gave her a couple eggs just to give her a chance of having children. She had an only child. Hopefully it turns out okay. Now, I got 2 different feed mixes. The meat feed is, what I call the meat feed, is a higher protein, same size grind, but my goal is closer to 18%, maybe 19%. Wow, the egg layer feed is 16% or so. It might be a little bit lower than recommended. However, I'm hoping the chickens are finding enough bugs being outside to make up for the lower protein in their feed. I love when the chickens are close by. When I have them out in the pasture, sometimes I gotta take our TC30 out with the cart, and I gotta haul water. Since they're so close, I can just drag a hose out. Probably need to feed the meat chickens first. We got a big batch going right now. 165, roughly. Might be in the 150s now. Meat chickens have a terrible death rate. They grow big and they grow fast, but that means they die faster too sometimes. But this batch will be selling all live. We got a congregation of folks who's buying them, and they're processing them themselves, but they're giving them away to the community, which I just sell chickens. I don't think they're doing a good thing by giving them away, but by selling them live, I don't have to pay for processing, which that's become a great hassle. The processors decided to go for a new schedule of killing 2 days a week and doing the cut up and packaging the other 2 days, and they get 1 day off a week. Their thought is that they'll save time and money. I mean, they're processing 1 less day a week, and they only have to clean half the processing and killing line. So 2 days a week they have to clean their killing equipment, and 2 days a week they have to clean their packaging and cutting tables. Well, yesterday for pickup they had so many people there, apparently there was a long line. I didn't go for pickup because I had hay to bale, so I sent Dad to pick up chickens. Oh, they're hungry. Yesterday was a bit of a busy day, and I didn't get out here to make sure they were extra full on food last night. As always, had hay to bale, which that's gone well this year. We've made a couple thousand bales. It doesn't look like it, as I've sold quite a bit, especially straight out of the field. We saw some of it when I got the meat chicken feed. And the feed's all non-GMO. I grind it myself. Grow all the corn, grow all the soybeans. The only thing I don't grow is the probiotics I put in it. To be fair, I'm not quite sure of the process, but I'd imagine it's something fairly natural. It's sort of like yogurt for chickens, except it's in a dry powdered form. Oh, did I have another feeder? No. I thought there was one back in the barn, maybe. I gotta go get that later. But the probiotic helps with digestion. It just has a few beneficial bacteria in it for the chickens, and it really helps them grow fast. Last summer, I tried going without it because the probiotic for a 50-pound bag cost me $80, and I can grind 2,000 pounds of feed with that. So these guys need to go out this week, and hopefully they're about 5 pounds by October 9th. That's when I need them to be ready by. That's the requested date. It turns out that that day syncs up with a holiday. Actually, the buyer, it's a Jewish congregation, or a synagogue. I think that coordinates with Rosh Hashanah, or the end of it. And I think Yom Kippur's that next week. Finally, these guys are getting big enough that they won't squeeze through the fence. You can see it's like a 2x4 gap there, and a couple of the small ones will be sneaky and get out. So I've patched a little bit together. I wish I could get them out on grass, but I had meat chickens to process this week, so they were still out there. These guys were getting way too big back in the barn for that space. But after the processing fiasco, pickup was horrendous. Let's go back another day to Thursday when I had to drop them off. They'll accept chickens the night before so they can get started at 7, 8, however early they get started killing up at King's. They had chickens everywhere. When I got there were 2 people ahead of me unloading. I finally get to back up. And they don't have any carts. And they're little homemade, welded up angle iron carts. Well, they didn't make any more. So we're all sitting there waiting for a cart to put them on, and we're unloading as fast as they're killing. In the previous setup, it was all one day. Kill, cut them up, package, cleaning. I could only shoot one day sitting around and driving. Well, they didn't make more carts. They had chickens sitting everywhere. They couldn't kill them fast enough. And they didn't want us to stack in the crates on the ground since they didn't want to have to move them again and again. I don't blame them. It's a lot of extra work to move a chicken crate. You put 10 chickens that are 5 pounds, plus about 10 pounds or more for the crate, and you're hoisting around 60 pounds and you gotta do that. I don't know, a few hundred times probably. I'm sure they killed well over 2,000 chickens yesterday, or Thursday. Yeah, that much activity and moving crates will wear on you. Well, the person loading chickens onto their kill line, which they've gone fully automated now. They've got a little conveyor system moving the chickens around. Maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky, they'll let me get a video next time. Not sure. I know, being a farmer myself, that other farmers can be a little touchy on being videotaped in their work. Mostly because there's people out there who like to misconstrue what's going on. Which, Kings, they have a job. They've got chickens to kill, and the more efficient they are, the more they can process. And being in a capitalist society, they're trying to make money. They've got a family to feed between them and their, 4 sons. I'm sure their sons have kids now. So that's how they make a living. And I try to be as humane as possible. So finally, after waiting around for an hour, I was able to get my crates and go home yesterday. And then drive home 2 hours. So we could drive back 2 hours again the next day to pick them up and come home. The only advantage, at least for myself, I could see for having them killed and processed over 2 days is the fact that they'll be fully chilled. Part of the regulatory bits of chicken killing, that they're supposed to be chilled under 40 degrees within 4 hours. Well, they were really squeezing the 4 hours because if I got there and dropped them off at 9, I'd be picking them up at about 2. So that's assuming that if they killed them at 9 and got them on ice by 10, well, 10 to 2 is 4 hours, but if I picked them up at 2, they were packaged and cut up. And if they could package and cut them up in less than a half an hour, that's maybe 3.5 hours of chill time. Not quite close enough. They were cutting corners. And then one of the sons even admitted to me when I was talking to him in the office, yes, there was a very good chance that the inspector cut up in a package and stuck a thermometer in it. It'd be questionable if the chicken would still be 40 degrees before they put it in the cooler again. The chickens are supposed to be 40 degrees before they're packaged, so they have tanks of ice water and stirrators in them to keep the water flowing around. That way you don't get any warm spots next to the chickens, which are, when they're killed, chicken's body temperature is like 102 degrees, roughly. That's one of the facts I had to memorize in college. Unfortunately, I don't take temperature of chickens every day, so it didn't stick with me so well. But I know it's much higher than human body temperature. Oh yeah, run to me, girls, run to me.